For all you out there that say that Trump got the Supreme Court wrapped around his little finger, I guess you might be wrong in this case, because SCOTUS unanimously orders the U.S. to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia from El Salvador. I might have butchered that man's name, but he coming back to the U.S. Let's see.
In a unanimous ruling, the Supreme Court's ordered the Trump administration to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States after the Maryland resident, husband, and father of three with no criminal record was denied due process rights and sent to the notorious SCOTUS prison in El Salvador. But the court remained vague on how exactly this would happen, and the Trump administration has claimed it has no way of ensuring his safe return. This comes as a federal...
Oh, that's a problem. If we send in people there to another country, we should have a way of knowing, like, yo, we need this person back, or we need this person back. That's a problem right there. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Immigration judge in Louisiana is set to rule today on whether the Trump administration has grounds to deport Mahmoud Khalil, a permanent resident of the United States and Columbia University graduate student who played a key role in organizing campus protests against Israel's assault on Gaza. Ahead of today's ruling, Secretary...
Oh, not the Israel running shit in America. Oh, my God. Both parties have failed us on this, letting another country, a foreign country, come in here and dictate what happens. We have the right to protest, whether we like it or not. The KKK have a right to come down the road and protest and say, we hate all blacks, we hate all Jews. I might not like it, but they have that fundamental right to do so in peace.
State Marco Rubio filed a short memo that concedes Khalil has no criminal history and argues he should be deported as part of U.S. efforts to combat anti-Semitism. For more, we're joined in New York by Ramzi Qasim, part of Mahmoud Khalil's legal team, professor of law at the City University of New York, or CUNY, where he founded and co-directs CLEAR, a legal clinic. The acronym stands for Creating Law Enforcement Accountability and Responsibility. Ramzi, welcome back to Democracy Now! Let's first look at this unanimous Supreme Court ruling that Kilmar must be returned from El Salvador, or at least the U.S. must facilitate this. What exactly does this mean?
Good morning, Amy. Thank you for having me. The decision in Mr. Abrego Garcia's case is, a bittersweet win for him and his family, of course. He's been taken away from them in such an unjust and cruel fashion and taken to one of the most notorious facilities in El Salvador. The decision confirms that the government needs to facilitate, but asks the lower court to clarify what it meant when it said that the U.S. government should effectuate. And that's just a reference to the limits of the U.S. government's power to control the actions of a foreign sovereign here, El Salvador. So it may take some time. The bottom line is that it may take some time because, of course, the U.S. government cannot order another government to do anything.
That's stupid. If we got to deal with them to take our illegal immigrants and our criminals, and why wouldn't we have a deal to bring it back? That's stupid. In the moment that they say, hey, no, when we stop paying them, we stop doing business with them, that's just crazy, because something worse than this could happen. Like that, nah. As an American citizen, we're not going for that. This is why we had a cave. We're not going for that shit. Come on, no.
It has put Mr. Abrego Garcia in this position, but it is still a step in the right direction, and hopefully will lead to his return home to his family, or at least, unfortunately, to immigration detention in the United States while the government works out its theory for why he should be removed, even though he received legal protection in the past.
And can you talk about your own client? Can you talk about Mahmoud Khalil, a Louisiana judge ruling today exactly on what? Could the judge rule that Mahmoud could be freed?
Well, Amy, the government's strategy in Mr. Khalil's case, and actually across the board in these cases where the government has outrageously detained student activists in the United States, including permanent residents like Mr. Khalil, simply for speaking up in defense of Palestinian rights and lives, their strategy in many of these cases has been to speed up and accelerate the removal cases, the administrative immigration cases, because that is the court that they fully control. Every immigration judge serves at the pleasure of the president, and simultaneously to slow down the federal habeas corpus cases that the prisoners themselves, men like Mr. Khalil and Ms. Öztürk, have brought in federal court to challenge the constitutionality of their detention, to tie up those federal cases and jurisdictional issues. And so what's happening in Louisiana and immigration court is symptomatic of that strategy. The immigration cases very rarely, in my experience, move this quickly. I've never seen one move this quickly through the system. So that's already not a good sign. That's a sign that there may be some political interference. Now, the immigration judge today is supposed to rule on removability, whether or not Mr. Khalil is deportable. Of course, theoretically, if she finds that he is not deportable under the government's charges, then she should set him free. But I think we should be focused on the other alternative, which is that the immigration judge will find him removable, that she will agree with potentially the government's argument that Marco Rubio's 2-page memo is all that she needs to find him removable, and that she cannot interrogate the Secretary of State's finding in that 2-page memo that Mr. Khalil and another individual whose name is redacted, that their very presence or activities or their speech constitutes such a problem for U.S. foreign policy somehow that they have to be deported. Now, that is the government's position, that all it needs is that 2-pager to put someone like Mr. Khalil, who's a permanent resident with a U.S. citizen wife who's expecting their first child this month, behind bars, and to remove them from the country that they call home. And if the immigration judge agrees with that position, that would be another outrage and a long series of outrages in Mr. Khalil's case as he continues to fight for his freedom in federal court.
I want to thank you for being with us, Ramzi Qasim, part of the legal team representing Mahmoud Khalil, professor of law at the City University of New York, known as CUNY. He co-directs
from them.
Man, hopefully this man make it home. That's unacceptable. If we're paying El Salvador to house some of our, you want to call them criminals or illegal immigrants and do this, that's a problem. If we're doing business with them and paying them and say, well, we don't know if we can get them back. We can't make them do anything. We're the United States. We literally have tariffs and try to make a country do this and pay us. So we're going to admit, we can't make people do anything anymore. We're giving money to Israel and money to Ukraine, and we're going to say we can't make people do anything anymore. That is not acceptable. Mr. President, the United States, I voted for Trump. I wanted him to do something different, but it seems as people are saying like he's bought and paid for it too. Did he trick us? Because this is unacceptable. If this man is a United States citizen, or even more, if he did not go through due process and they just send him out, how many more people is that getting done to? Is he the only one? We're sending them to a place and the answer in that loophole where we can't make them do something. I get it saying we can't make them, but we can highly suggest it. We have leverage over them to say, hey, y'all just took all these criminals. We gonna stop paying y'all to house them. Shouldn't that get it done? That is unacceptable. I'm not. No. No, we the people will not accept that. If this man needs due process and he comes back and go through it and then they say he got to go, then that's fine. But to just skip over it, no, we don't play that. The government, you need to get your shit together. No, not in any way, shape, or form. Not rocking with it. What do y'all think, cave dwellers? No.